Hi, welcome. My name is Clayton Chapman, and today we are making a whole roasted steelhead trout coming to you from Blue Valley Aquaculture. It's a sustainable aquaculture program in Sutton, Nebraska. We've worked with them since we opened. So at the restaurant, we bring in between 50 and 70 fish a week. For those that are squeamish or, kind of timid about eating seafood, it's a great entry-level fish. So today we are taking a really simple rustic dish, executing it well, and just having it be flavor-forward and delicious. A couple quick tips to look for when buying whole fish to know that it's fresh. You want to make sure that the eyes are really clear so you can see that there's not any blood spots, so you can tell the fish has been out of the water for a very short amount of time. You also want to look at the skin and like this kind of it almost looks like a slime glaze on the outside of the skin. That is good, that is normal. If you give the flesh a little poke, essentially what should happen is it should spring right back out at you. If you push your finger in and the indent stays where your finger left it, the fish probably isn't fresh, and I don't know if I'd be eating it. What we're going to do initially is we're going to take our knife, we're going to make a cut on the front of the collarbone all the way to the spine. If this is the backbone that runs all the way through the fish, you have a series of all these bones here that are going to connect the fillet to the backbone, and then there's going to be a little bit of pin bones inside there. So essentially what we're going to do, take our knife, we're going to break all these tiny little pin bones that run all the way down the length of the fillet, and then we're going to open the fillet up. It's important to keep the skin intact when doing this so that we can put the fish back together. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, we're going to debone it, we're going to put it back together so that we can serve it whole. So we're just kind of opening it up. So we're leaving that fillet intact. And then do the other side, and then I'll show you how to pin bone it. This tailbone here is going to be flat all the way through, so you're going to rock your knife underneath. And then on the top, or on the bottom rather, of this fin, we're going to go all the way to the back of the fish here. I'm going to come through with my knife, and I'm going to take out. And run our knife just underneath these bones here, just to remove them. And you're gonna angle your knife towards the bone, so it just kind of nice and easy like, just fillets them out. And then we'll just remove that fin with the collar there, trim it up like so. So we're gonna come down, we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side, square up our edges. One of my brothers, my dad and I, we drove up to Cliffs Lake, Canada. We get to Cliffs Lake, we were promised this lake was stocked full of fish. We were supposed to have this most amazing fishing experience. I think we might have caught like 3 fish in the entire week that we were there. For us, fishing as a kid was always more about just the actual experience of fishing than it was catching anything. All right. There's going to be these little pin bones that run all the way down the fillet. I like to have a little cup of water. If the tip of your tweezers are wet when you go to pull these pin bones, it just makes your life a lot easier. There's a lot of them. You just kind of run your finger over the top to feel. Sometimes you can pull a couple at a time here. Next up, we're going to season the fish on the inside. A little bit of garlic oil, salt, and lemon zest. Fold our fish back together. Season the outside with a little bit of oil, salt. You want a nice heavy layer of oil so that it doesn't stick to the grill. And you also want to be generous with the salt. And we're going to go down on an angle. There we go. Put a little bit of pressure on it with your hands. If the skin isn't nice and crispy and not ready to be flipped, it's going to stick to that grill plate. The skin is really the best part of this whole dish. So fish comes off the grill plate, goes in a 450-degree convection oven for 6 minutes, give or take. So you've got this crispy skin, And then you've got the filet that is just light and delicate and supple. I can say supple, right? How many times? Yeah? Today we're using delicata squash, white sweet potatoes, shallots, kale. This technique is universal. You can really use it with anything depending on the season. So in the summer I love to do it with corn on the cob, bell peppers, zucchini, and tomatoes. These vegetables are great for this time of year. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a really simple vinaigrette to toss all these vegetables together in. We're gonna start by mincing some garlic chives. The same thing, we've got some parsley. Just gonna kind of give a real rough chop. Go back through it one more time. So we've got all our veggies off the grill plate. We're just gonna go ahead and put them in a 450-degree oven for about 8 to 10 minutes just to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. You can absolutely use raw garlic in this recipe, but the roasted garlic does two things. It just provides a little more depth, and it's also a little more subtle. I'm gonna put in just like I don't know, a tablespoon or two of champagne vinegar. Nice healthy pinch of salt. And I'm not trying to emulsify this or anything, I'm just kind of making a real loose vinaigrette. Good rule of thumb is 3 parts oil to 1 part acid, whether that acid is vinegar or lemon juice or whatever. And then I'm gonna take just a little bit of lemon zest to finish it off. Simple, fun, rustic. Give it a little taste with the back of your spoon here. It's awesome. As soon as our vegetables come out of the oven, they're going in that. Here I just have a little bit of sweet potato puree. I'm just gonna drop on the base. I'll toss it all together here. See how we made that vinaigrette like really thick? So it's got a nice coating on all these veggies. We're just gonna go right on top of this puree. Trout's coming out of the oven. We're gonna give it one more glaze. So this is our fish sauce that we made from our fish stock. You could use like ponzu if you wanted, or a barbecue sauce. We got a friend in house today. Heather, come on over here. Go for it.
Yum.
That's all good?
Very delicious.
So you've got like the nice creaminess, butteriness of the fish, charred kale, sweetness from the sweet potatoes and the squash. Go ahead, it's all yours.
The glaze gives it a great depth, I think.
The flesh is really flaky and buttery, but it's also really mild. You know, the skin is so crispy and it's got that char from the cast iron, so it's got that nice roasty depth to it. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you again soon. Follow us on social media, all the usual suspects, where we share new tips, tricks, and recipes weekly of all my favorite dishes that I love to make at home. If she doesn't want to kiss you because you smell like garlic, I think you're with the wrong woman. That's what I think.